So, hi everyone, welcome to Chalchitra Talks. It's Monday again. Like Abhinav Pathak is like, why again? So, it's Monday, and we are here today with. So, last week, किसी ने हमें super chat पे request किया that we read the letters by Roald Dahl. And so this week, I thought I would pick him up because absolutely love Roald Dahl, and I wanted to pick up his letters for a long time. And therefore, I thought it's a good opportunity to pick his letters up. So, hi Shashwat, hi Dheeraj, hi Vaibhav, how are you? Long time no see. Hi Ayush, and hi Jibin, hi Bharat. Uh, so yeah, I mean Abhinav is requesting Vaibhav. Like, yeah, we miss you so much, Vaibhav. Maybe you can come here with us next time. Take out some time for us, maybe. So this week I thought we'll pick up Roald Dahl because somebody also requested that we read his letters on Super Chat. So I made like proper notes this time. Um, so Roald Dahl was a British novelist, in case you don't know, and he's very famous as a children's writer. He used to write a lot of short stories, and I'm pretty certain you've heard of a lot of movies that were actually inspired by his works. For example, there's Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson, and then there's James and the Giant Peach, Danny the Champion of the World, and then there is Matilda, which is ever so famous. There's also You Only Live Once, which is a James Bond movie, but they took special help from, I don't know, Roald Dahl because Roald Dahl was not only a writer, but he was also a spy. He was a wartime fighter pilot, and he was also an MI6 agent. And I'm not like kidding. So, wow, Saptarshi has said, no more tadka dal, now you like Roald Dahl. Uh, well, there's that. Now I forgot what I was saying. Uh, but yeah, so there are so many movies that were inspired by the works of Roald Dahl. Um, and another thing, like I think it was the last live when Weber was also here. हम बात कर रहे थे how Shakespeare had his own dictionary and everything, and he invented his own words when he ran out of words. And so was the case with Roald Dahl as well. He had his own language, which I think he called Gobble Funk, which had at least 500 words. And they were like senseless words. Like, for example, you must have heard of, I don't know how many of you have seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And in case you have, please let me know in the comments below. In case you know of Roald Dahl, please let me know in the comments below because I was so excited. I just jumped right in without giving you an introduction. So there's this movie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or there was also this another movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Both of them are based on this work by Roald Dahl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where this kid gets invited, wins a ticket to this factory, chocolate factory, and the owner is Willy Wonka. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, mein, there are these Oompa Loompas, jo actually assist Willy Wonka in making chocolates, and that was a word that Roald Dahl invented, among other words. For example, there's another word which is called frobscottle or scrumdiddlyumptious, something like that. So there were so many words that Roald Dahl actually invented. Uh, so in case you haven't read the book, you can always watch the movie. It's a children's book and a children's movie, so I don't know if you'll enjoy it per se. But the reason why absolutely loved Roald Dahl, and I think I recommend everyone to read and pick up Roald Dahl is because, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong or add to what I have to say. But I feel there are so many books out there for children which are very simple and easy, and you expect them to tell them. You expect to tell them a story which is really nice and flowery and everything. But Roald Dahl, when it came to Roald Dahl, his stories were, of course, like the children will triumph over evil at the end of the day. The young people will always win over the wicked, and mean people. And but there was also like a really dark and sometimes violent aspect to his stories as well. But what I loved the most was that he never underestimated a child's imagination. So if you're reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or if you're reading BFJ, which is another book by Roald Dahl, or if you're reading Matilda or The Witches and so on, um, there were always kids who knew that the world may be beautiful, it can be beautiful, but at the same time, there are ugly and bad people as well. There's also like a bad trait of the society as well. So he never stayed away from talking about these things, these conversations, these topics that we usually avoid with kids. So that is one of the many reasons I really love Roald Dahl. Saptarshi is like, is it a children's movie? I don't know. Willy Wonka seemed quite frightening to me for some reason. Yeah, Saptarshi, it's like actually, I don't know, it's a children's book. I like I've reached a point where I no longer know how to differentiate between an actual a good children's movie versus an adult movie. So it is a children's movie per se, but yeah, Willy Wonka was supposed to be not frightening. He was supposed to be an intriguing fellow, eccentric fellow. But in the first movie, if I'm not wrong, uh, Johnny Depp plays Willy Wonka in the recent Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. There is another movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't remember the name of the actor, and I don't know which Willy Wonka you're talking about, but both of them were supposed to be intriguing. Because Willy Wonka is supposed to be this weird fellow who lives alone in the chocolate factory with his Oompa Loompas making chocolates. Uh, so that was the intention, I believe. Um, Prasad says, "Hey, Vaani, hey, Weber." So Prasad, there's only me today. Weber has deserted us, unfortunately. Uh, but yeah, Alka, why don't you have a book recommendation account on Twitter where fans can also suggest books? Alka, you can always suggest us books and each other books in the YouTube comments. There's also a Discord community where we have a dedicated section to books. So you can download the app and you can join us. Or there'll be a link somewhere in the description after this video or in one of our previous videos as well. And in case you feel like still people are not listening to your recommendations, you can always write a mail to me, shoot a mail to me. It's vaanimahesh04@gmail.com. And I will like for sure pick up your recommendation or at least try to, or talk about your recommendation in one of our lives for sure. So you can do that. Chocolate Valley River ki baat hi alag thi. Yeah, kind of true, Vikas. So guys, how many of you have actually seen the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Please let me know. I mean, I'm like really excited today because Roald Dahl is like one of those people जिसकी multiple books की multiple copies मेरे पास है because I really loved him so much. So like I was like really excited. I made notes for this live so that I do not miss out on on a few things. Bhargav is asking me, Vani, what do you? I usually prefer hard copies, mostly 95% of the times if I can get my hands on them. Else I just move on to the next book. Um, yeah, Saptarshi. Johnny. Yeah, I think like so. If you've seen the entire movie, he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be, and yeah, I mean, yeah, he could be scary. But yeah, Shashwat, yeah, fantastic. So guys, I mean, I don't have any sane movie recommendations because I don't have any class or taste in movies. But Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson is something that all of you should watch if you haven't. One of the many reasons why I really love Wes Anderson, and I shouldn't say this because I don't know if I have the like. Of course, why would you listen to me when it comes to movie recommendations? But one of the many reasons why I really like Wes Anderson is because how because like some of his movies are inspired by these writers and authors who I really, I absolutely love them. Like if they were alive, I would go for their book signing thing. Come to think of it, like book signing is something like a concert for book enthusiasts. But yeah, so yeah, where were we? So we were talking about Gobble Funk, which is the language that Roald Dahl created. And there were at least 500 words. So I've noted some of them down as well. For example, there was this horrigust, which is horrigust, Horrigust, which is horrible plus disgusting. And most of his words were like this. Like he'll take two words, two absolute different meanings, and he would combine them to create another word. So if there is a word that you cannot find for horrible and disgusting, he made horrigust, and then it would be something that's horrible plus disgusting. So, for example, there was this another word, prosperous, instead of preposterous. So it was just preposterous, but it even worse with mixed vowels and more alphabets. Uh, so there was this another. I'm fumbling so much. I'm really sorry. There was this another word, chogle. If you are chuckling, plus you are gargling, which I don't know who will. But if you're chuckling and gargling together, it's chogle. Like one of the characters in his books churgles, and which is absolutely weird, but this was the level he would operate on. So उनका routine काफी basic था. He would wake up early, and he would respond to the fan mail that would come to him. And I think we'll read some of the letters, Abhi. And he would respond to the mail, and then he'll have his lunch, or maybe before that. Uh, he would have his lunch and read somewhat, and then he would sit for 4 hours, write every day. And that was like most basic of his routine. And then he also like he had this shed in the backyard of his house where he would write letters and whatever. His his workspace was a shed in his backyard, which is so cool. I mean, I found some pictures on the internet, so I'll share them with you abhi thodi der mein. But there's also a video, you can check it out on YouTube. I will link it in the comments maybe after I'm done shooting, like after the live. But you can check out that YouTube live stream. Not what is wrong with me? I'm really sorry. But you can check out that video where people take us around his shed. So he died in 1990, and tab se wo shed वैसे ही बंद है. And it's like a very small space. So there's a funny story around it. I don't know if I should, but like I think my sibling is not watching it, so I can. So my parents were, so my father is a civil engineer, and हमारा घर बन रहा था, and my brother and I wanted our own, like we were getting our own rooms for the first time, and we were like really excited. And my father was designing the entire house, and we were like, we want to design, like we want this in our room, we want this in our room. So like usually how parents are like, ah, tum khud design kar lo, main baad mein kar lunga. And so my brother is like 7 years younger than me, and that, I wouldn't say idiot, but that child made like he made a plan of 5 different rooms inside a room, which would expand over at least like 10 acres of an area. And there was like this dedicated room for food, dedicated room for games and music and every possible thing you can imagine. I, on the other hand, because I was inspired by Roald Dahl and other alikes, I just wanted like 1.5 room, like in the attic. I wanted like a workspace like the shed of Roald Dahl, and another to like sleep and whatever. And so that, like, his workspace has motivated every workspace of my life in a way. And therefore, when someone requested that we read letters of Roald Dahl last in the last letter writing session, I was a little like obviously I was really excited. And then this morning I woke up and I realized, no, I need to make notes for that. So I have like five A4 sheets for notes. And now I'm boring you, of course, I'm sorry. But yeah, so he had a really small hut, like shed in the backyard where he wrote most of his famous stories, like Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, etc., etc. Um, there were also like the funny thing about Roald Dahl was that he was very much inspired by things around him. So I'm assuming a lot of you, like most of you, have heard of Roald Dahl because of his book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And funny thing is that obviously Roald Dahl was rich, his parents were rich, and therefore he went to a good boarding school, good English boarding school. And वहाँ पे obviously वो लोग कैडबरी वाले chocolates टेस्ट करने के लिए लेकर आते थे. And Roald Dahl had this dream that he would make this new bar of chocolate and experimental bar of chocolate only for Mr. Cadbury, and Mr. Cadbury will be like, oh my god, such a nice lovely child, I should give him half my property, and things like that. And this is something that inspired Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. uh, but yeah, Divya, Danny, the champion of the world, was really good. I'm surprised you have read it actually, but yeah, I never thought you read any Roald Dahl. Uh, Darjeeling Limited had a powerful impact on me. Yeah, me too, Mega. Mega Kika. For a second, I thought your name is Mega. Sorry. Mega Kika. Kika. So, yeah, Jivan, thank you so much. Yeah. Please don't forget to like the stream. uh, Saptarshi never got a fan mail. Feeling sad now. You know what? I had this strange idea before the stream. I thought, why not? Maybe we can write emails to each other, because letters, like, who would want to give each other? Like, who would want to share addresses with each other? But like, all of us can like do a little pen friend thing and write letters to each other. So if you have any ideas, you can always comment it down below, and then we can have our own community sharing of emails and letters and fan mail, as Saptarshi likes to call it. um, Saptarshi, tree houses have always been fascinating to me. I wanted one as a child, but all the trees in my house are coconut trees, so I had to give up on that dream. That's really interesting, Saptarshi. Like, this is like a dream that I had as well. But let's see. I mean, I am still hoping. So, yeah. So before he became an author, Roald Dahl was also a pilot for the Royal Air Force. In World War II, he was also like a pilot in the Royal Air Force, and he was also an MI6 agent. He spied on United States of America around World War II, and so yes, his life also inspired a lot of works, and he was also the consultant on the sets of and in the script of. I just named that movie and I forgot. You Only Live Twice. It's a James Bond movie, and I'm not sure about the what were his limitations and how, like, in what all fields and he assisted, but I'm pretty certain he was there on the sets helping out with all his MI6 and spy thingy. And yep, so yeah, let me know in the comments if you read Roald Dahl, because it would be so interesting if you guys also have and are as crazy, half as crazy, or appreciate his work as I do. So like I said, one of the many reasons why I love Roald Dahl and I recommend Roald Dahl to everyone, most of the people I absolutely adore, uh, is because most of the stories that children read are the ones where world is a very nice place. There are fairies and everything. A fairy will like move a wand and a pumpkin will become a whatever it's called. But like the thing about Roald Dahl's books was that the world could be a good place as long as you helped to make it good. But then there were also bad people, and he never shied away from showing a dark side or showing a violent side to kids, which kind of might like piss some parents off or scare some parents. But I think in hindsight, it's a really good, it was a really clever thing on his part because he engaged the imagination of kids. Um, he valued the cleverness and everything. So a lot of people complained that towards the end of his career, Roald Dahl became really boring. His stories were like repetitive and they lost their meaning and they were suffering with writer's block or whatever. But I think eventually, if even today you read his works, there might be a little drag, but eventually at the end of the day, it was they were still inspiring and such a dose of reality check for all of you. So Roald Dahl had this funny. So he would always recommend people to carry a notebook around, and if you're someone who likes writing or wants to try writing and wants to get back to writing or whatever, he always recommended that you carry a portable notebook around with you and let it become an extension of yourself. So if you have an idea, doodle it down, write it down, note it down, work on it and everything. And never be afraid to leave your bad experiences behind. Always create new ones with the bad experiences you have. So even if you read like his books, some of his books, like he almost died once fighting in a war. I'm not sure which one. My memory is not that good. But instead of like just pushing it aside as, like leaving aside his PTSD and everything, he invested that story in his new experiences of writing short stories for kids, etc. So I've been after Web of Life to pick up. So we had this short story when in class 9 or 10 in ICSE board. It was called The Umbrella Man and it is by Roald Dahl. And I've been after Weber's Life to pick it up for the Thursday lives that we do around books. So if you've read that if you've read that book, the short story, The Umbrella Man, please recommend it to Webber as well. He might pick it up faster than otherwise. So I'll just share my screen with all of you and I want to show you that hut where he actually wrote. So let me know if you can see my screen and if everything's working well on this end. Until so, yep. Saptarshi says that another bad joke by Saptarshi. Roald Dahl and James Bond made MI cool before the establishment of Zamni. What are you eating, Saptarshi? What is your diet? I want that as well. But Mega Kika. Can someone spell the author Vaani Stockman? It's Roald Dahl. Okay, yeah. No name #2 spelled it out for you. I'm pretty certain I am pronouncing it a tad bit off because of my pronunciation, my Indian heritage, but I hope you forgive me for the same. 16 Chinmay Bhave 012. So Roald Dahl is kind of a hybrid of German Grimm brother and fairy tale stories. Somewhat, I think so. But not so much fairy tale stories. Like kids would be the fairies in this thing, but like not. Now that I've said it out loud, I think you'll imagine it wrong. But yeah. Mega Keka. My father used to tell me, please let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Mega Keka. If it's how it is pronounced. My father used to tell me Dracula stories for entertainment, sometimes and to keep me in line other times. True. Saptarshi, yeah, I agree. Roald Dahl actually very nicely infused dark things with childish imagination. That's why it was a perfect Tim Burton movie. If he died in 1990, yeah, he did fight in World War II and he also spied on the USA. I learned it a few days ago that he was actually an MI6 agent as well. So I'm particularly excited about this fact. So I'm like pretty certain when I've seen other lives on the channel and I get intimidated sometimes because all of them are like, they discuss stuff and it's very, not theoretical, but it's very engaging and it's very enlightening. When when I am asked to discuss something, I usually lose the particular thing I was supposed to talk about, and I give 10 different facts which might never help you. So it makes me like a little nervous. But yeah, MI6 Roald Dahl was an MI6 agent. So this was the hut in the, this is a shed in the background of um, Roald Dahl. This was the small hut, and I think it's stayed shut that way. Wait, I'll just take you to. So I discovered this website today. It's by Roald Dahl, and yep. So I am not sure where I'm supposed to go because yeah, I think it's a museum. There are like so many things on this website, and if you want to discover this, uh, discover Roald Dahl a little more, you can obviously go to this site as well because, yeah, I'm pretty certain I've lost his wherever I was supposed to go. But well, yeah. So this is like the little hut where Roald Dahl wrote his letters. Oh, and this is like a really nice ball. This entire ball is made of old chocolate wrappers that Roald Dahl ate as a kid. So this is like whatever remained of the chocolate bars and the chocolate wrappers. Even I collected chocolate wrappers and sometimes. So now I feel like particularly validated at the hands of Roald Dahl. Uh, I also collected nails, so that's very weird. What all things did you guys collect when you were kids? This will be a pretty interesting topic. Let me know whatever it was that you collected uh, as a child in the comments below. And well, I collected chocolate wrap. I collected all sorts of things. I collected pebbles, leaves, flowers. I still collect flowers and leaves. But I also collected nails. I had this weird habit of like my mother would clip my nails off and I would collect them in a jar. I threw them when I was in third year of college, or maybe fourth, I'm not sure. Um, really cringy, yes. Uh, yeah, Himanshu, yes, he is. Uh, if I'm not wrong, JRR also fought in either world. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so as well. Today's episode has been sponsored. No, Saptarshi, today's episode was somebody paid us in super chats to read the letters by Roald Dahl. And so here we are. So if you guys want us to do a dedicated live stream for you, I feel so. So you can like request us to do the same via super chat. So Aditya Ranjan is, I used to collect coins. I started collecting coins, Aditya, and unfortunately there was no variety. So I eventually now have a lot of 1 rupee coins. But what all kind of coins do you have in your collection? Please let me know. Prasad, you used to collect spiders. I feel good about me collecting nails now. Nails like the dead cells. I collected, oh wow, that's really nice. I collected Pokemon cards. Harpreet. It's really nice. uh, Matchbox pictures. Hey, that's pretty cool, Yajibin. What do you? I don't know. I've only seen like 3 kind of matchboxes in my entire life. Uh, I used to collect everything that would discuss my older brother. That's all the younger siblings, I think. Um, I figure wars create a lot of great artists. Well, hard times do create a lot of great artists. Heather collected my broken heart pieces. Oh my God. We have a tuta dil today. I'm still collecting the chocolate wrappers, Prakash Banu. Hey, I collect them as well. But yeah. So these are another of his. This is pretty cool, yeah. I have 10 old 10 paisa, 5 paisa, and some Czech, Roman, US, and Polish coins. Pretty cool. Ayush Mishra, bottle caps. Pretty cool. I also, okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it out loud, but I collect the, like when you have like, when you get, yeah, when you get those cold bottles, like glass bottles, and the wrapper comes off. Uh, I don't think I might have in a book right now, but yeah, no. But I use those wrappers that come off from those wet, like cold glass bottles as bookmarks. I might have it in one of my books, but I'll have to like really leave the screen for a few minutes and then hunt for it. But yeah, train tickets, pretty cool, dude. I started collecting bus tickets, but my grandmother I started collecting bus tickets and postage stamps, but my grandmother thought it was all like kooda kachra and kabad, and she threw it away. So there went my dreams. Bottle caps are pretty cool, Aish. What kind of bottle caps do you collect? Is there a particular kind? Like, how do you go about it? Uh, I have old Nokia devices that don't work in their boxes. Pretty cool, yeah. Um, Pretty cool. That ways I don't have anything. But a Cadbury silver cover. Does it still come, Prasad Sangole? Because I used to use it like as a bookmark once upon a time. But yeah. So anyways, moving on. His typical day started at 9:30 a.m. when he'd go through his fan mail and then he'd write about 10:30 a.m. to midday. After lunch and an afternoon read, he'd do a couple more hours writing from around 4 p.m. I wonder like how he made money because I really want this kind of routine. So this is a chocolate ball we just saw, and it's inside his shed. A campaign's been launched to save the crumbling hut and the many strange mementos inside it, including one of Roll's hip bones that was removed. That's so cool. Oh, this is his chair. So he had this writing desk. Um, he got it made for himself. Okay, it's written here. He didn't like writing at a desk because he hurt his back while fighting during World War II. So he had this desk, this green thing that you can see, specially made for this chair. He couldn't type and he always used a pencil to write his stories. Yes, so he always used a pencil and yellow colored papers to write his stories, to write whatever. So I have a funny story there as well. So there are so many stories related to Roald Dahl. Um, and I still haven't reached the letters, and I feel so guilty about it. So there was this one time, if you remember, there was Anisha was here the last time in the last episode of letter writing, and I was looking for. So I read in a book that Roald Dahl used to use pencil and a paper, and the copycat that I am, I wanted something like that for myself as well. So I went ahead and bought black ink and black ink pen. I still use it. But I also wanted something like yellow paper. And the closest thing I could find was this dirty green paper, which you find in a lot of government offices. And I requested my father, I begged him to get it for me. And he told me, like, you know what, like, I will be put behind bars if anybody finds this in your uh, bag or whatever. And I got like really scared because I was like a really naive kid. And I went to the school and Anisha had, and it's like class 9, you're pretty sane enough to like, if you have like a good brain, you can like figure it out that your parents are lying. But I was like pretty, I wouldn't say, I don't want to say dumb, but like, yeah, I was like really like a fool. I thought like, oh my God, my father will be put behind the bars. And Anisha next day is sitting with green papers, dirty green paper from the government office. And I'm like, you know what? You're such a terrible kid. You want your father to go to the prison. So that's the end of it. But eventually I came down to like plain white sheets. Still doesn't work out. I'm still trying to find a paper, but at least we've got the ink sorted. Uh, Given, it's like I had 20 different brands of Matchbox pictures, but I discarded all. I don't know why. Maybe I thought I'm grown up. But yeah, that happens to a lot of us. We discard things because we feel like we're growing up, and that happened to a lot of stuff that I wrote. And I'm pretty glad I discarded most of the stuff I wrote. I would have been I don't know. It would have been so depressing. That would be like a major source for my midlife crisis, maybe. But yeah, we discard a lot of things because we're growing up, and I wish like most people won't do that. And I think it's because we think like we're not cool, and we don't want anybody to figure out that we're not cool, and therefore we just discard the stuff. And then like one day it hits us, no, dude, we were pretty cool, and well, that happens. So I also had an idea to collect cinema theater tickets, but nowadays it's all online. Right, Jibin? Like there are so many things that are going online, digital, and it's like. But I collect Amazon bills for books, and I use them as bookmarks. Uh, yes. The Saptarshi, thank you so much. He likes Vaani's streams because, like streams or rivers, it has a very natural and soothing flow. What are you eating today, Saptarshi? So many jokes. They're good jokes though. Like my sense of humor is like really low. So if somebody in the comments doesn't like his jokes, like I feel really, I feel bad because I laugh at like the most basic stuff that you'll find really annoying. But yeah, Jibin, even I tried that, but dot matrix printers ink is not that durable. Oh, did I? Oh, oh. So after some months, I couldn't know which ticket is which. Yep. True that. Same goes for ATM scripts. So slips. I started, so like the first time I got an ATM was when I was going to college. And I collected all the ATM slips that I had in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. And at the end of these 4 years, I realized like all the paper was gone. And then I threw it away because I think I grew up and I was like embarrassed of what had I collected. But yeah. Anyways, even I collect Amazon bills, but ink kind of fades away after some time. I don't know, Nuna Kashyap. I haven't really figured it out because I usually use it as a bookmark. So sometimes, like most of the times, it's usually, most of the times, it's still like very intact. Or maybe I forget it after I'm done reading the book and then I never went back to look at it again. Oh, Param, it's 3:36 a.m. over there. Dude, it's 23:07 here. I'm pretty certain you should be wide asleep. I have a friend who asks the people who accompany her to sign behind the restaurant receipt and collects them. It's eccentric, but helps you remember the good times you had with people. Oh, that's pretty cool, Ayush. It's a good idea actually. Um, Maybe that another cool thing would be collect the napkins of whatever cafe or restaurant you go to or a dhaba you go to and keep it with you forever or throw it away when you think it's embarrassing. Those were the golden days when they gave good bookmarks free with the Flipkart book delivery, Saptashi. I have this problem. I cannot use the usual bookmarks. My bookmarks usually are those beer can ke like those not beer bottles ke wo jo stickers nikalte hain or like other cold bottles. Shouldn't have said that, but I just realized it. Or the chocolate wrappers or bills or ATM receipts. Everything but a proper bookmark. It's weird, but I don't know why. Like, I just can't use the usual bookmarks. Uh, yes, but definitely next time we can try doing it early. I should have collected my drink pills, would have inspired me to stop drinking and become healthy. Definitely. So I'll share my screen again because, yeah. So let's just do this. So this is the yellow paper and the pencil used to write. So I think he's written R.TAHL. So this photo shows Roald Dahl writing in his hut around 1990, the year he died. The hut hasn't been touched since. And that's the end of this one. But shall we like discover like a few more things about Roald Dahl before we get into his letters, or do you just like straight away want to get into the letters? Just let me know. Uh, guys, let's not deviate from Roald Dahl for now, just like we did in the last stream. I looked away for a minute, and then people were talking about things that shouldn't be spoken of. But yeah, so he was a fighter pilot. I'm just going to, he was also an intelligence officer. I'm just going to like, because I learned, no, okay, wait, what am I looking? See, wait, yeah, see here it is. This work introduced, whatever, my jaw, During the war, Dahl supplied intelligence from Washington to Prime Minister Winston Churchill. As Dahl later said, my job was to try to help Winston to get on with FDR and tell Winston, Franklin D. Roosevelt, guys, if you're confused. So in around World War II, he spied on USA for UK. Yeah, not UK. He spied for Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of Great Britain, and Franklin D. Roosevelt, who was the American president. And he would tell Winston what was in the old boy's mind. That's a funny way. That's a funny way to write something. Dahl also supplied intelligence to Stephenson and his organization known as British Security Coordination, which was part of MI6. So all in all, Dahl is one of the coolest authors we've known, right? This is Roald Dahl, guys. So he died in 1990 in November. So he was born on September, and his birthday is celebrated as Roald Dahl Day. His name is kind of difficult to pronounce, Roald Dahl Day. So he used to write a lot of fantasy and suspense. Now is the time I realized, okay, so these are just let me know how many of these books you've read. Okay, I'll just zoom in a bit. I always forget to zoom in, guys. There's James and the Giant Peach. There's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. There's Fantastic Mr. Fox. Danny, the Champion of the World. George's Marvelous Medicine. The BFG, The Witch's Matilda. And just let me know how many of you, how many books or how many stories out of these have you read? Or if you've read Roald Dahl at all. So now I wanted to pick up, so this is the archive that I found on his website. And there are some letters that are here from that Roald Dahl wrote as a fan mail to people. So this is one of the letters that really intrigued me. And it's taking time to load. Just let me know if you can see my screen, guys. Vaani is a hoarder, Chinmay. Don't usually. I am actually a hoarder, but I usually throw away stuff. Like I usually at the end of every season, like when I'm cleaning my room, like changing and reorganizing every stuff, I throw away a lot of things. And then I usually regret for weeks. Weeks later, I regret for weeks. I use old photographs as bookmarks. That's interesting, Harpreet. I mean, there's this particular photograph that I have that I've been using recently because it was just in that book and I did not know where else to put it. So I've been using that as well. But what's the process? Does it not ruin the photographs when you use them in your book as a bookmark? Okay. Saptarshi and Ayush have become best friends in the comments below, guys. You can also write mail letters to each other, mail or letters to each other. That'll be so interesting. So earlier at the beginning of this live, I said that perhaps we should do something about, I'll just stop sharing my screen for a minute. At the beginning of this live, I proposed that we write mail or letters, but nobody in their right mind would share addresses with a stranger. So I thought, why not we exchange emails? Or you can write the emails to me, and maybe in some live I can read them out to you. Just let me know if you like this idea, and if you have a better solution to this problem. That will also be great. So I'll go back to sharing my screen. Oh, also, almost all your viewers are male. And Shantanu Kumar, this is a very interesting question. Almost all of your viewers are male, knowing how men use the internet and view women on it in general. How do you feel about this process? It seems very vulnerable. What does doing this feel like? Hmm. So I never okay. I understand that most of the viewers, I don't know what your how you figured that most of my viewers are male. I've realized that a lot of people who comment on the videos are males, but when it comes to like direct messages or personal messages, there are a lot of women as well who um, interact with me. So that way, I believe like there's an equal there is an equal there's roughly the same amount of women who watch the videos as men, or maybe who interact with me. um, I have realized that a lot of women do it in chat personally, while a lot of men prefer to do it like live on streams or directly on videos. And fortunately, like the community that we have built, or Web has built, and now that we are building together, and the people that we have, like the people like right now in the stream, they're very sensible enough to, most of them are sensible enough to post things that actually take the conversation forward and fulfill the purpose of this channel or the stream or the video in general. So that was, I don't know what answer it was that you were looking for, but that was, it's really heartwarming and engaging, the process, because the people that you use, that you meet, irrespective of gender, uh, are very warm and supportive. So it's actually interesting to learn about their recommendations, learn from them, and to share information in the entire process. So the only difference that I've noticed is that women might not comment publicly on your videos or engage in the live streams as publicly as men do, but that doesn't mean most of the viewers will be male. And I am aware that a lot of people use internet and how they view women. I'm aware of it. But fortunately, the community that we have here is a very safe space and a safe haven for us to share our thoughts and engage with each other. So I hope that answered your question, Shantanu. Uh, yeah, he also famously held anti-Semitic views. He was very critical of Jews and I'm not certain if he was Jews, but minorities. Um, I don't know if I would cancel him for that, because I've really grown up reading his writings, and I think he was the first influences I had in my life. So I don't have any thoughts on that, but per se. Um, if you think I should have any thoughts, I'm not sure, but I think like it's okay to not have an opinion on something, and it's one of the things that I don't have an opinion of as of now. He held, but the reason why he is famous today is because of his works, his writings, how he's motivated so many people who are categorized as weird or creepy to just find strength in their personalities. So that ways, Roald Dahl is still an inspiration for most of us. So his views on minorities and other people, I don't think that should influence what you take away from his writings. Yeah. So, sacred, I am not sure how to pronounce the second half of your word. I haven't read his books, but watched a few of the movies based on his books. Really enjoyed them as a child. Yep. Saptarshi, in West Bengal, approximately 10 to 20 years ago, if you got 80% in a particular subject in school, secondary exam, coincidentally, the sum of the letters of letter is it. I didn't understand this. If you got 80% in, I don't understand the comments, Parshi, I'm sorry. Of the topic, maybe suggest an Indian fictional novel to read. Uh, Rohan, like, I would definitely recommend it in the videos, and you can watch like the usual book recommendation episodes that come out on every Monday. And I'm pretty certain I must have recommended at least something that's Indian and fictional. If not, I apologize and I will do so in some of the videos. Or maybe there would be at least one guest. We've had Namita Dubey, Books on Toast, say, Anuya and Sharon. And then we had Abhinandan Sekhri quite recently from News Laundry and Manisha Pandey. And some of them recommended Indian fictional works. So you must go check them out. And I think those will like really help you pick up your next read. Okay, I'm here. What did I miss? Ashutosh, you didn't miss much. I was just ranting on and on about Roald Dahl and how he's an MI6 agent and some other facts aside. Um, Himanshu is new to the channel. Just curious to know what course did you graduate from? Thanks for answering. You already knew I'd answer this. So don't mind, you don't answer. So I did computer science engineering. But yeah, Shantanu. So wasn't expecting anything in particular. You're right about the different approach. I've also noticed guys on live and women in the comments generally. Facts. Yeah, true. I'm glad you agree. Um, yeah, I completely agree with this. Like Rohan, when he says that his personal views will obviously seem outdated in today's world. But I also think that sometimes you must so there are so many artists that are questionable, like Roald Dahl and his views in this. There was Roman Gary that I spoke of in one of the previous episodes, and some of these them had really questionable views, and it's always and when I was growing up, I did not know how to perceive this because I couldn't separate them from what they wrote. But now that I look at it, I sometimes realize that sometimes you should just uh, take the best things that you can from whatever they have produced in terms of writings or art and just move on. Because eventually the entire goal is to grow and learn, right? And learn whatever you can from wherever you can in order to grow. So, yeah. Mhm. Shantanu, about feeling, I just wanted to know how you, the risk of being a public personality in the extent that you are. I'm not a public personality per se. Uh, it's just, I've seen a comment, Messi or Ronaldo, neither. Uh, Saptarshi, I think you can at a same time like and dislike a person. You can like certain traits and dislike other traits or opinions. I get inspired by the positive traits and criticize them. Yeah, true. I mean, yep. Okay. Saptarshi has like explained his comment to us. In West Bengal, approximately 10 to 20 years ago, if you got 80% in a particular subject in school secondary exam, then they were awarded a letter grade. A letter grade, a letter grade. Coincidentally, the sum of the letters of letter is 80. Saptarshi is like one of those people who like really I feel so good because he gives the same kind of facts that I do. Uh, but this is like so interesting to know. Deepak, Messi or Ronaldo? Neither. I really like Zlatan instead. But yeah, okay, cool. Shashwat Kaushal, I personally like to separate art from the artist. True. Mm, yeah, I think we don't have to judge the personal life of authors, Chidan. I feel so too. Like most of the times, at 95%, like I don't know, I haven't thought this through, but I think like we must not judge the personal life of. We should not trust the not trust. We should not judge the journey of somebody because eventually, yeah, we should not judge the journey of somebody because everyone has had their own shares of thought building, etc. So yeah, mm, I like to separate situations. So sometimes the art and artist must be evaluated together. Sometimes not really. I agree, Shantanu. Like, I'm still trying to figure my opinion, solid opinion on this one because I think it is important. But I'm still in the middle of figuring out where I really stand here. Uh, a person must take the positives from a role model and learn from their mistakes. I just don't blindly build gods. That's like my opinion. Are you active on Letter's website? Pretty underrated. No, not really. But yeah, I'll just take a note of this website and I'll just check it out after the live. Uh, what, according to you, would be the vision of the channel going ahead? I am not sure, like, if I'm the right person to answer that. Um, do you like Chetan Bhagat? This is like a big answer to this. I'll just answer it someday. Almost all of the philosophers were racist. Kant had some really questionable beliefs about black people, but we still read him. True. Capitalism or communism? Guys, we were reading about Roald Dahl. What are we doing now? But I think a healthy blend of both will be nice. But I'll share my screen and let's just. Okay. And I don't like the cancel or call out culture on the internet. Almost every time misses the point or its mark, causes much more chaos than required, and in the end, nothing fruitful happens. I think I agree as well. I feel that I think there's a lot of negativity and unwanted hatred out there. Like, I know, like, I loved reading newspaper, but I haven't read the newspaper in months. I haven't. The only reason mostly use my social media is when I need to update a picture or post something, not to like check out anything because somehow it's become so unhealthy and toxic that's almost scary. You don't know what people might take offense to and what might offend somebody. And yeah, so it's- but yeah, how do you take Anne Frank from work? Uh, that's maybe in the next live stream we can pick up Anne Frank's diary and discuss it. I don't think I have it here, but we can because I think it deserves a live stream of its own. People can share e-letters on the website with others or in public, and people can also write or share. You know what? Like Rohan, I don't remember the name of this app. A friend of mine had recommended me to use it, so I don't remember its name because brilliant memory. But there's this app on. I've forgotten the operating system that I use. I'm so like I'm impossible at times. But yeah, there was this letter. There's this letter writing app. So suppose I live in India. There's another person who lives in France, and we can write a letter, an e-letter to each other, and it will take 6 hours or like um, it will take a significant amount of time to reach France. Almost jitna aapko like usually in proportion to the time that your an actual letter will take to travel from India to France, उसी के किसी proportion या कुछ उसमें it'll take like उस app पे to travel to. So there was this one person I was writing a letter to on the app, and it used to take us like 3 days. I don't remember where the person was from. Just let me know if this letters, the website is also like this app. Um, My only source of news right now is FB or IG, and I even keep them deactivated. Same here, Saptarshi. Like, sometimes my only source of news is, I don't know, my brother. So I get news from a 16-year-old source. So reliable. Uh, do guns protect? Why are we talking about guns and killing? I don't know. A problematic artist who's alive and can gain monetary or other gain from his or her work can be linked to their work, but in case of those who have long passed away, separating art from artist is not wrong. True. Oh, this is actually a very good point. I will think more about it. Uh, Uh, yeah, Saptarshi. Basically, the letter writing app is an email, but with poor internet connection. Kafi true. And इसी note पे I'll share the letters that were written by Roald Dahl to his fans. um, because they're very interesting. So uh, let me know if you can see my screen, or do you want me to like zoom in a bit more? Yep. Do you want me to zoom in? Okay. So in 1980, 17-year-old student Jay Williams wrote to Roald Dahl um, for some writing advice. His response was short, sharp, and to the point. Uh, Anyways, so Roald Dahl wrote memorably about his own path to becoming a writer in the wonderful story of Henry Sugar and Six More. So I was okay, fine. There are so many things that I realize, and I disrupt my lives myself. From less than mediocre school reports, the boy is an indolent and illiterate member of the class. Whatever. So when student J. Williams wrote to him in 1980, Roald Dahl shared some very memorable, if blunt, advice. Do you guys want me to zoom in a little more? I'll just do it in any case. So this, okay. He gave him a blunt advice, and he said, "Dear Jay," yep, I think it should be enough, right? It'll be really weird if yeah, I'll just do this. "You're asking too much of me. Okay, this is 12th Feb 1980, 10 years before he passed away. But he passed away in November. So 10 whole, no. You must realize that I get an awful lot of letters." Deepak, what is up with you? Okay, so let's just do one thing. Let's just read this letter and then we can take it again with the chat. So, "You are asking too much of me. You must realize that I get an awful lot of these letters and you can't expect me to write your thesis for you. It should be fairly obvious to you what the role of the short story is in modern literature. It's a big one. Study particularly the American short story writers like O. Henry and Runyo and Hawthorne and Poe. Poe is really depressing. And lots of English ones. If you want any dope on me, there have been an awful lot of profiles in the English magazines over the past year, starting with the Feb 1979 issue of Vogue. I've read your story. I don't think it's bad, but you must stop using too many adjectives. Study Hemingway, particularly his early work, and learn how to write short sentences and how to issue all those beastly adjectives. Surely it is better to say she was a tall girl with a bosom than she was a tall girl with a shapely, prominent bosom, or some such rubbish. The first one says it all. Yours sincerely, Roald Dahl. Okay, I'll just zoom out a bit. Okay, cool. So Jed has rediscovered this letter in January 2015, 35 years after Roald Dahl sent it. For him, the advice still resonates, and after 20 years, as a news reporter, it's something that has become central to his own way of working. There were like some more letters which were really interesting. Let's try reading Ellison's arms letter from Roald Dahl. Thank you so much, Karthik, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Okay, there's so much happening in the chat comments, guys. You've become great at holding conversations, Vaani. I see a podcast coming in soon. Thank you, Ayush. Okay. Why are we discussing blood group? I did I miss something? I can't imagine in old days people can write like typewriters. Oh, that's actually a typewriter, I think. That was a typewriter. Aren't we reading Letters from Boy? Letters from Boy is really expensive book, and it broke my heart today because it's 3,000 something ish. The price of the book, Letters from Boy. So Letters from Boy is a collection of letters that Roald Dahl wrote to his mother, and I realized today how expensive this book is. Like, it's not as expensive, like 40K or something, but it's like 3,000 something. And it broke my heart because I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I can't spend so much on a book in a month. And like, I mean, I can, but then I'll have to give up on other books as well. Uh, and I couldn't find the PDF as well, but I found some interesting letters as well. So I thought we could read them. Uh, So I'll just share my screen again, and maybe this is the second letter we can read. In May of 1987, Alison Mitchell did just that. Okay, wait. Roald Dahl often received letters from teachers across the world telling them they were studying his stories. In May of 1987, Alison Mitchell, who is a teacher, did just that. The children she taught in Swallow class at Balfour Infant School in Brighton all wrote letters to Roald Dahl and were thrilled when he replied. Roald Dahl's letter to Alison Mitchell's class. Hello, gorgeous. Okay. And all the clever children in Swallow's house, class. From far and near, from near and far, your letters come, how kind you are. I cannot, as I'm sure you know, write back to all of you. And so instead I send, and that's what this is, lots and lots of love and kisses. There was this interesting letter that I actually found, which I've clearly forgotten. But yeah, how is the book The Reader? I haven't read it if it's a book. Hey Vaani, just ordered the Adivasi Will Not Dance from Amazon earlier. My friend recommended this book, but I wasn't interested after today's episode. I thought, okay, now I have to read it. Thanks. Thank you so much, Ashutosh. And if you find this interesting, I have another recommendation for you. I recommended Dear Zari somewhat in the beginning of when I started out with this series. And Dear Zari is somewhat like the Adivasi Will Not Dance, only that Dear Zari has accounts of Afghani women, women from Afghanistan in the book. Yeah, Afghanistan. Mm. Saptashi, what is my favorite? I've come to so I've been reading a lot lately, like in the past few years, and like once upon a time it used to be historical fiction, but lately it's been a lot of this and that. So there's a lot of biographies, like not biography, memoirs, diaries, and some fiction. That to historical fiction still remains. But I just realized I've been reading a lot of stuff. One thing that I still cannot read is horror and thriller. I still have started reading thriller now, but horror is something that I still cannot read. And it takes me a lot of time to finish self-help books. Abhishek Pandey just called someone rich. Did you call me rich? Do I look rich? I don't know. How am I supposed to react to that? How could you read from the letters of the World War II games? Yeah, Rohan actually was thinking to do that as well. And I was just hoping to do that soon, but I'm just not sure how to go about it. So you can expect those letters in one of the one of the future episodes as well. Okay. Um, I didn't Dear John is a category. Considering many authors respond to fan mail, have you ever tried writing a letter or mail to one of your favorite authors? Should I stop sharing my screen for a minute? Uh, I um, I do respond. No, I'll have to think about it. So yes, no, not I never try writing to anybody. That's one bad thing. But in the beginning of the series, there was this one particular episode that so there's this author, not author, he is a journalist, somewhat journalist. He's in the media industry. His name is Shrivas Nevati, and I recommended his book How to Travel Light. And he actually wrote back and It was really nice. It was my micro miniature mini web of Peter Gold moment. But I was like really happy because his book helped me when I was in a dark spot, and I was like so thrilled to read his reply. I remember jumping on my terrace for a good 30-minute time. But yeah, that was like one of the best things. And then also like quite recently Bill Hess replied, but I think he replies to everyone, so that's not special enough. But yeah, but I haven't tried writing to most of my favorite authors because most of them are dead. uh, I didn't. Dear John Dear John is actually a category of letters, Saptarshi. Like, I don't know if अगर पुराने comments में कहीं mention है. I'm just like skimming through them. But Dear John letters were written in the World Wars because I was actually going to pick them up last week, but I thought कि नहीं, it'll be very sad. But eventually the conversations do become serious on the lives, right? So Dear John letters were written by wives, girlfriends, etc., female partners of soldiers who were posted in the war field. And these letters were Dear John letters. These letters were usually the letters of breakup, like, hey, Dear John, like, let's just call it quits, somewhat like that. What are we talking about? Like, a little nonsense now and then is cherished by the wisest man. Is it in regards to like how we break from reading the content that we were actually supposed to and just talk to each other? Has anyone here read some mythologically specifically Indian? I started reading. I don't remember the name of the author. I read The Forest of Enchantments recently, and I wasn't a fan, but I think it's a good read. So if you want to pick it up, you may. And his Palace of Illusions is also very famous, and I don't remember the name of the author. How the other has anyone here read? Okay, wait. What's happening in the comments? Deepak Meena, you're like, there's a lot of Deepak Meena going on in the comments. I'm your emotion. What? Read Mahabharata and Ramayana, the thickest version you can get. Also, okay, I have this book. Wait, I'll just this thing. There's this book that I recently ordered. It's the Indian Epics Retold. Do I need to flip my mirror? Just flip my screen. Just let me know if I need to flip my screen, guys. So this is something I recently ordered. It's the Indian Epics Retold by R.K. Narayan. So if you want to read this, you may, because I started reading it and it's pretty decent. Then I put it aside to read it later. But I think it's pretty decent if you want to start reading something related to mythology. Else, there's always Devdutt Patnaik. Shiv Kumar got Letter from Boy. You own a copy of Letter from Boy? How much was it worth? If it's a tangible copy. So I'll just flip it again. Okay, wait, Shantanu. How dare you? Okay, wait. Okay, so I'll just. I don't know how to do it. Wait. Still have to, yeah. So this is the Indian Epics Retooled. It's by R.K. Narayan. So it's like a collection, but these are like separate books as well. The Ramayana, the Mahabharata, Gods, Demons, and others. Just let me know if you can say it. Yep. So it's like usually it retains the spirit of the original publications as well. Not publications, but the stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata and other things. But R.K. Narayan, like if you've read him, he has his own form of writing, so it's very refreshing if you want to get it. Shiv Kumar, but I was looking for a tangible copy. How do you see George Orwell? Like, what's your take on Orwellian literature? So I really like my take on Orwell. I think he kind of I will now relate it in terms of like music. So a lot of people were influenced by certain bands in life. There's Nirvana, there's Metallica, there's like this whole proper generation that was influenced by particular bands. And Orwell is one of the authors that have influenced that has influenced a lot of generations with his writings, be it 1984 or like, and those are the most famous ones. And his other works are also really nice and interesting. I wouldn't recommend them here because I want to recommend them on the channel in the episodes. But if you are going to pick up, like I hold Orwell in like highest regards, mostly because of what he wrote. And I'm pretty certain, like the times that he was in, his book was obviously banned, and it was much easier for him to get it published than it would be like for him to get it published now. But still, to write something like that requires a lot of courage, and therefore, I feel you should appreciate books like this. I don't know if it made sense. Um, Also, like sometimes I believe that the reason, not the reason, but the success of 1984 is something that probably um, postponed a 1984 from happening, and it might happen now or maybe sometime in the near future. But the fact that a book like this exists, 1984, existed in 1948. He wrote it in 1948, right? And a book like this was written, and then so many people, it became like there are cult followers of the book, is one of the many reasons why I feel an era like 1984 was postponed until now or near future or whatever. I love Batman comics. Me too. uh, what is your favorite comic in all of the Batman ones? We had to read Gita every day, 10 shlokas each day in my residential school. Read the whole Gita about 3 to 4 times in 6 years. No kidding, Saptarshi. So like I wanted to read. I was into like religious studies because I am a Hindu, and my parents sent me to a Christian school, and we read the Bible. We read the Word of God, whatever it was called. I'm really sorry. Word of God in the from the Bible, and then there was also like Gita as scripture, and I was like really fascinated by different religions that existed because there was also like there were like a lot of my classmates were Buddhists, and I yeah, a few of them were Jain. So it was like really interesting, and therefore I ended up reading a lot of mm, Gita a lot many times, Bible, and I think I haven't read Quran itna, but like yeah, it's pretty interesting to learn about, to read about different religions actually, no matter what your opinion of them is, because I think there is something that's holy that you'll bring back from every religious book that there is. Uh, what? Uh, when you recommend Insomniac City, I started reading Oliver Sacks quite extensively. I finished up Hallucinations and his memoir, but haven't picked. uh, I um, I also I'm yet to read Hallucinations. I started reading it um, in college, but for some reason I never came around to finishing it. I do not know why. My exams had started, and I just did not pick it up again. Thank Pragya, I'm so glad you will see. I don't know who I am forgetting, but like, see, we have a woman in the comments, guys. Come on, there's another woman. So Smita is also there in the comments. Uh, Saptarshi, are you from Ram Krishna Mission? Yes, Saptarshi. We want to know. The nation wants to know. And I'm so glad, Pragya, you liked How to Travel Light. I mean, your views on a guest in my own country. I haven't read it actually, Deepak, but I will try to pick it up really soon, real soon. Oh wow. Have you read Amish Tripathi books? I tried reading them, but I felt they were not for me. I tried reading one of like I have his entire collection because for the sake of having a collection, but because I am that superficial person. But I started reading his books, but somehow the writing did not resonate with me, so I did not really dive deep into it. Um, okay, so I am now going to. What do you think about Satyajit Ray's books? I just recommended a book by Satyajit Ray a few episodes ago. So, yep. I want to read The Myth of Sisyphus. It's pretty cool read, actually. Uh, it's- I've realized like there were so many books that I've picked up when I was like in school, like in my teens, and then I left them midway because I wouldn't understand them. Like I just recently bought Madhushala, and I did not understand this book when I picked it up because I was in uh, because I was what I just joined OLS. So it was 2006. 2006 means I was roughly 9 or 10, and so I was roughly 9 or 10, and so my parents would talk a lot about like they would discuss a lot about Madhushala or whatever, like that is poetry, and so I picked it up and I did not understand it, and for some reason I thought Harivansh Rai Bachchan's writing is really difficult. So I picked it up recently, a few days ago, quite recently, like oh, I picked it up yesterday, and it was so interesting to note that sometimes you never pick up books again because your mind wasn't developed enough when you picked it up the first time. But now that I've picked it up, I think I'll pick up a lot of books. One of them is going to be The Myth of Sisyphus, because I left it midway because I thought, oh my God, this is so difficult to read when I was like, what, 13. But yeah, I think why 1984 got that cult following is because people see such elements around them. Maybe not a totalitarian rule, but so many things help them resonate with the idea it presented. That's kind of true, actually. And well, yes. Do you remember all your reading? I do not. Uh, I do not see for death. Is it C for death or is it C for death? I don't know. I don't remember at all. Like, so there are sometimes people recommend me books and I'm like, yeah, I will pick it up. It sounds interesting. And then I pick it up and I realized towards the end of chapter 2 that I've already read it and it's really frustrating. So right now, like I think like Goodreads is obviously something that's really great. And I've recently joined it and like recently became active actually. But I've started maintaining this diary, which is really helpful. And now a lot of people will hold this against me, but I prefer writing in a diary than like going online on Goodreads, and like logging in whatever I've read and how much progress I've made. Um, yep. What's your favorite book from the Russian literature? There's no favorite as such, but yeah, there's no favorite. It's very difficult to choose a favorite. It's like, yeah, you can't pick up favorite books. There are so many books that I appreciate though. The reason why I really like Russian literature because of how dark it can be, and at the same time, how it is dark, but at the same time, it's like looking at yours, but that's like true for most of the things. So yeah, I really appreciate Russian literature. One of the writers that I really like is Nikolai Gogol. I recommended, I think, Dead Souls, his book Dead Souls, in the second or third episode of the series as well. So if you want to check it out, you may. Um, yep. Okay. Wow. Saptarshi and Susmita are classmates apparently. Uh, Pretty cool guys. हम लोगों को भी मिला रहे हैं यहाँ पे. I highly recommend the Cinema Beyond Entertainment by Vineet Masiram with Alka Hingorani. I hope I got the pronunciation right. You will love it. Guys, please check out this podcast that Shiv has recommended. Um, Cinema Beyond Entertainment by Vineet Masram with Alka Hingorani. Yep. Saptarshi is the professor of logic. Whoa, Saptarshi. Have you read Lajja by Taslima Nasrin? No, I haven't actually. And uska second part bhi aa gaya hai, and I'm yet to read that as well. It's called Shameless, I guess. No, wait. I don't know. Yeah, I just came across this, and I have this routine. Like every Sunday, I visit this bookstore, And I feel bad because it's like COVID and I shouldn't. But I go there for 15 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes now every Sunday, anyhow. And I came across this new book and I'm yet to pick up Lajja. And I was so not sad, but I was like really frustrated because I wanted to buy the new book, but I haven't read Lajja. So how could I? Um, okay. Sayantan Chakrabarti. Yeah, I've heard that. So I am not a big fan of Paulo Coelho because I find it hard to. Okay, the reason why I do not appreciate Paulo Coelho so much is not because of the thoughts he has, but mostly because of how he writes. Obviously, in this age of instant gratification, we are used to writings that are quick. But then again, I just do not relate to how he puts his words. And I think they are very, some people really love his writings, okay? And what I find pretentious, some people might really love them. And what I really love, some people might really find it pretentious. And that will always be. So, if you have mixed feelings about a book, I usually reread it, not reread the entire thing, but like skim through it again after a few weeks because it usually helps. The reason why I do not appreciate Paulo Coelho is because I don't really like his writing style. And I feel like some things could have been written in a much better way, simpler way, in a shorter way, and extra details weren't necessary. Because sometimes when you are, because reading uh, what interests you, most of the people, when they read, form a visual image in their head. At least I do. And sometimes it's a drag for me because I just want the other person to reach to the point. And this doesn't happen with me, to me in all the books that I read, but like with Paulo Coelho, it's just I'm tired of waiting. Like, what is the end point of it? Like, it also happened to me in To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, I was just tired. Like, kab aayega the final moment whenever, like, okay. So yeah, I don't know. I hope it helped. But if you have like mixed feelings about this book, you should definitely pick it up again. Like spend an hour on it again, and maybe like you will your thoughts will be cleared about it. Uh, okay. You should try Narayan Sanyal, who he wrote a book called Traitor, which is about the atom bomb incident during World War II and how a scientist leaked it. I actually read about this quite recently. I cannot remember where. And yeah, now that you've recommended this one to me, I'll just click a screenshot and I will pick it up again. Um, okay. Okay, cool. I'll just start reading the letters now. Uh, Guys, I really want to share this letter with you. And then maybe we can get back to discussing. Okay, this is not the one. Okay. Was Patrick Tillery was mesmerized when the school librarian read James and the Giant Peach to his class in Bremerton. A year later, when he was in fourth grade, Patrick's teacher asked her students to write a letter to their favorite author. He chose to write to Roald Dahl. As Patrick says, after what seemed like years later, but was likely only a matter of weeks, I received a small airmail postcard from Gypsy House, blah, 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 with a brief message from Roald Dahl. I've kept the postcard in a very worn, well-loved hardcover copy of James and the Giant Peach for 34 years. That's so cool. Thank you so much for your letter. I liked getting it. I am afraid this is a very short reply. I wish I could send you a long one, but there are such a lot of letters to be answered, and there is a new book to be written and a million other things to be done. So please forgive me. So cool. Oh, I think this is the one. Okay, I will think this is the one for a long. Okay, yeah, this is the one. Schoolgirl Elizabeth was finding it. So this girl Elizabeth was finding it. Is anyone paying attention to to the the letters that we're reading as well? But like this is like one of the letters that I. So this is one of the letters that I really loved. Schoolgirl Elizabeth was finding it hard to settle into her new school in 1967 and wrote to Roald Dahl telling him about it. She was thrilled to get a postcard back from him, encouraging her to try to imagine being happier, as he had heard tell is he the tell that what you imagine sometimes comes true. His postcard addressed to Elizabeth helped her enormously at Yep, helped her enormously, and she wrote back a few months later to tell him that she had indeed settled in and how she had made lots of friends. Roald Dahl was delighted and replied back, promising to celebrate her news and eat cake and bars of chocolate that I get from Chocolate Charlie Bucket at the chocolate factory just around the corner from where I live. So this girl was having trouble settling in her new school, and so Roald Dahl wrote this to her. Dear Elizabeth, I am so sorry to hear that you're not settling into your new school. You must try to imagine that you like it. For I've heard that what you imagine sometimes comes true. When I hear that you're happy again and the maker of music and the dreamer of dreams, I shall dance and sing and nod with my mouth bulging with Cadbury's best chocolate and from and other gloriumptuous things. So this is one of the words he invented, gloriumptuous, whatever. And he also wrote another letter to her. Shall I zoom in a little more? Okay, wait, yep, this is not working out. I'll still try to read it. And let me know if you guys can see this. Yep. Dear Elizabeth, I'm so pleased that you have settled into your new school and I will, okay, this is the same one? No. Okay. EK. I will dance a little jig of joy the moment I finish this letter. I will eat cake and bars of chocolate that I get from Charlie Bucket at the chocolate factory just around the corner where I live. I will laugh and sing and be happy for you. Please don't ever grow up like Sliggy Lumpfruxious. Will you cast salt? Be nice and kind and never let anything make you sad. Take no notice of your brother because boys are always bongerly gripsy and eat slugs and worms. Try and be tinkety nispy girl, then you will always be happy. So Roald Dahl had this thing where he invented a lot of words. And like I said, he mixed a lot of words because he could not find the correct word to explain the meaning. So for example, there's whoopsie whippling, which meant great, or like so I would use a lot of these words growing up because I was that weird show-off kid, and people would think I'm so creepy, rightly so. And there was this one particular word which was called aki mucky, which means messy. So I would be like, oh my god, you're handwriting so aki mucky. But yeah. Mm, what did I miss? I haven't read a lot of Tagore, Sushmita. I read his Gitanjali and I picked up The Postman, if it's The Postman. And I've read a short story by Tagore. I can't remember what it was. It's something about the tiger and this kid and his father, and they are guarding the railway station, and a tiger comes in, and the father dies at the end. I don't remember the name of this book, but these are all the three works that I've read by Tagore. Although I'm looking forward to pick them up. Boku no Pico, it is available in a novel format and a TV series too, and it is mind boiling. Okay. Is it horror? Because then I'm not going to watch it or read it. Because Chinmay says that gave him a nightmare. Um, okay. Okay. There are so many books in the recommendations below. So Saptarshi is a big like Saptarshi just completed his MS in physics. Okay. These letters remind me of the I am lost in the comments. Ayush says, these letters remind me of the withered, yellowed letters our parents, grandparents have preserved from the 80s or 90s. You sort of imagine yourself being there when they sent them. kind of true, although my mother burnt all her letters because she thought I'm spying on her. Uh, but I still have my father's diaries, which are really absurd. Wouldn't want to have them. Um, you should also read Gora Ghare Bere. Is this Bengali literature? What if you were to die tomorrow? What will you do? Do I know it in advance that I'm going to die tomorrow? I would. Comments is all about Saptarshi and Sushmita. When you do something, I don't know, guys. They just. Sushmita and Saptarshi are from the same school, right? They just met. Let them have the. But yeah. It's MS, my institute kids. Guys, what are we discussing? But yeah, so we read a lot of Roald Dahl today. And Ashutosh wants us to change the subject. So is there something that you have for me? Are there any questions? Is there any recommendation? You can always recommend us something and you can request us to read something via super chat. And if not, I'll just quiz you on the words of Roald Dahl. You, my favorite playwright. I haven't read a lot of playwrights. Um, the last play that I actually read is not technically a play as oh shit is not technically a play as such, but it's by Woody Allen, and I am forgetting the name. Just, my brother made me read it, and it's something. What is wrong? But yeah, I mean, the last play that I read was by Woody Allen. I haven't read a lot of plays. And there's also a lot of Groucho Marx that I've read, not read, but some Groucho Marx that I've read, and mostly his letters. So yeah, that's also pretty cool. Munshi Premchand. I actually have read one of his books, and that scarred me a lot. Karm Bhumi. So I've read his Karm Bhumi, and I was like so scarred when I read it because it was that time when I still didn't know about people falling in love with multiple people. And I was disgusted initially. And then I spent the entire night, like, I finished it in like 8 hours. And now, in hindsight, it was a lovely, lovely book. But, well, okay, recommendation taken. There's again Saptarshi and Sushmita. Cool. Compile the unanswered questions and start a podcast. Thanks, Ayush. Who's your favorite writer from Bengali literature? Vaani? I haven't read a lot of Bengali literature, yeah. I had asked Saptarshi for recommendations, but I'm still discovering a lot of regional literature. And, perhaps maybe like we have this Discord community, but if it's not comfortable enough for you guys, maybe you can like write and recommend the regional stories that I must pick up because I hadn't read a lot of literature, like regional books, until a few months ago, and I just started reading them. So, well, yeah. Where was in the chat, guys? Has anyone read Devdutt Patnaik's Mahabharat? If anyone has read it, please tell me because I'm buying it. So, guys, if anyone has read it, please let Himanshu know. Okay. Yeah, so the thing about Munshi Premchand was like, so there's this book, Karm Bhumi, and it was one of the, so when you grow up and study Hindi as one of the languages, you will have a lot of Premchand ki stories, Premchand ki kahaniyan, but you never get a full novel. So I picked up Karm Bhumi because this was something everyone recommended to me, and people usually recommend you big reads because those are the most famous ones. And I think that was not a good space for me to start because I was still very impressionable and I was scarred with how men can be and like flying from one woman to another and just so that happened and I started reading it at sometime around 3 in the evening and I remember like my boards had just ended for class 10th and I was crying at the end of it because I was disgusted. uh, but now in hindsight, of course Munshi Premchand is very the reason why he is very famous even now and is very relevant even now is um, there's a reason for that. So I was reading about him a few months ago, and there are not many things that I recall now. But the reason why he's not as famous as, say, Tagore Rabindranath Tagore was because Tagore had a lot of translated works as well while he was alive. Munshi Premchand, on the other hand, was a poor chap who couldn't afford a lot of translations or did not know how to market himself. Um, he was somebody who brought Hindi literature to light. And you he had a very terrible childhood. Like his mother passed away and उनकी stepmother थी जो उनके लिए बहुत she was a nightmare for him. And then most of his books and stories have this recurring theme of a terrible stepmother. But yeah, that's like mostly. Shantanu is obviously like, there's inadequate excitement about Vaibhav being here. Has Vaibhav left us again, or I don't know? But yeah, so I'm pretty certain we did not read most of the letters that Roald Dahl that we were supposed to read about Roald Dahl. But let me know what are the comments you'd like us to read, like me to read in the next episode. And if there is someone you'd like to see again in the episode, whether it's Anisha from the previous episode or it's Vaibhav or someone else from the channel itself or from outside on this letter reading series. I think good Bengali equivalent to Premchand is Sarath Chandra. He also wrote about Bengali village life and the superstitions and class struggles surrounding that. But yeah, thank you so much, Saptarshi, for the recommendation. I was reading The Adivasi Will Not Dance, and if you haven't seen today's video, please check it out. I recommend this book. And I realized that a lot of Adivasi literature is still very much bound to regional languages. And that is the trouble with most of the diligent authors as well. So, for example, each dialect or each state will have their own authors that are very famous in that state. But like if I, for example, I know only two languages, right? Hindi and English. And if I need to understand them better, I will need a good translation. And a lot of things get lost in translation. So a lot of appreciation that way runs out. So why everyone kept recommending the autobiography of a yogi? Autobiography of yogi is supposed to be very enlightening, Ashutosh. So yeah, okay, cool. Maybe I can request Anisha, but I'm pretty certain she has COVID duty next week. So let's see. Cool. I also read some stories by Asha Purna Devi. It was good as well. Yep. So I think guys, let's end karte hain se yahan pe. If you have some questions for me, please let me know, or some recommendations for these series. Or if you have some idea about how we can exchange letters/emails, please let me know that as well. And well, yeah, let me know who you'd like to see in the future episodes of the letter reading series as well. And I also thought that maybe let's just not stick to letters. Maybe let's expand to dedications as well. So, for example, there are these pretty cool and nice and beautiful dedications that are in the beginning of a book, the preface, the prologue, the epilogue, or as simply a note or a diary. Let's just dive into that. So I would like, what would your thoughts be about reading or discussing those in the lives as well? Let me know about that as well. Um, wow. Yeah, Himanshu, there's so much literature here in the chat. It's overwhelming. I look up and then I look down, and there are 10 different recommendations. Uh, Sushmita. Uh, I still don't know how to pronounce. This is so embarrassing. I used to follow him a lot. I used to follow him religiously until I came across Carl Jung. Um, so I'm more of a Jungian than a this name that I cannot pronounce. Um, but well, I've read a lot of limited stuff about him by him. Um, and some of those theories did not fit as I grew up. Like especially his theory on dreams and sleep analysis was something I couldn't really fit. And but of course, his contribution like still remains. But I really favor Carl Jung. So I follow more. I prefer Jungian school of psychology more than Sigmund's fruit of psychology. Uh, so how Saptarshi like totally hijacked your letter reading session today. But I don't know. It's not like you hijacked it. It's like you can't help it. You're so charming. That's your personality, right? Uh, whole of Bengal is here. What is a Guju doing here? Yum. Well, yeah, there are so many Bengali recommendations. It's overwhelming. I do not know how to pronounce his second name. I'm sorry, Sushmita. Yeah, I don't really. His dream analysis was a little, I wouldn't say weird or overwhelming. I can't find the name word for it. It was just, it didn't make sense to me. And when and his thoughts and opinions, obviously he was the teacher of Carl Jung, but somehow I couldn't relate to them. So I found my safe space and um, spot in Jungian School of Psychology. So yeah, I mean that's true as well. Like Jung's many theories don't fit either, and both provide templates for modern psychoanalysis to build forth. That's true. Um, so I'm not saying I blindly follow Jung. Please, that's not what I mean. But I just say I prefer Jung to Sigmund, and I can't pronounce his last name. I don't know the correct pronunciation. Freud. Thank you, no name. I hope I remember. Didn't you say bye and leave us? But yeah, it's good to have you back. But yeah, Freud. Uh, the reason why I really liked Jung, I have his book somewhere here. Um, Memories, Dreams, and I can't find it now. But yeah, uh, I really liked his cognitive functions. And I think I read a lot about them. Not I think, I did read a lot about them. And that's when I really started taking interest in Jung. Um, a dedicated episode on autobiographies. Yeah, maybe I could do that. But I haven't read a lot of autobiographies. I've read a lot of memoirs. Um, Hi, Encrypted. You're too. Did you just join us because you're late? Vaani is bombarded by Bengalis bomb today. Oh my god. Saptarshi, your streaming is the only positive. Yeah, you will say that now, Saptarshi, of course. But thank you so much. Maybe you should join us in the next letter reading episode and then actually hijack this episode or the stream. But Jung learned everything from Freud. That's true. See, now I can pronounce thank you, no name Freud. Um, DJ Devil. Yeah, I mean, Freud was his teacher, but they obviously had a fallout. But I'm just saying, like, I don't read psychology anymore. I read a lot of psychology in class 10, 11, 9, 10, 11th, and 12th. And that is when I was like reading a lot of Sigmund Freud. And now, but somehow it didn't fit right. And then I switched to Jung and it made a lot more sense. Not complete sense, but I found like a little piece there. So I prefer Jung to Freud that way. Okay. I am not sure if I'm the right person who should be answering mystic realism versus surrealism. So I wouldn't like really go in there because I would just say something wrong and then I don't know. Thought on Nietzsche. Nietzsche. I'm not a fan of authors whose name is difficult to pronounce. Like yesterday it was Chelsea versus Liverpool, and my friends and I were like chatting, and we just were roasting the other friend who was supporting Chelsea, and we're like, is this a team or like is this a football team or like a group of tongue twisters? And that is what I feel when I'm yeah. No, Malay. So like Sigmund Freud was he is the father of psychology, right, guys? So he gave a lot of Freud is less than Jung. Yeah, but I also feel like Jung had this um, somehow I don't know. We started with Roald Dahl, but okay, cool. But I also feel, and guys can correct me. I also feel Jung had this advantage that Freud was his teacher, so he had like everything laid out to him on a plate. Like this is what I've learned so far, and this is for you. And Jung added to it and made it better. So naturally, you can expect that some of his theories will make more sense than Freud's. Um, yep. Okay, there's another pronunciation in the comments is Freud, but pronounced as Farid. I'm definitely sure it's not Farid, okay? Um, Vaani just lost all the views from Chelsea supporters right now. Wow. Uh, come on. It can't be that bad. Uh, maybe. So many people are misspelling. Yup. But yeah. Young learned from Freud's mistake. Sigmund's mistakes. Let's just, but yeah. Cancel Chelsea. so, so this has become a football stream now. Chelsea has. I'm pretty certain Chelsea has fans. I know a lot of people who like Chelsea. Mm, Ali, I'm the best and I know it. Oh, Muhammad Ali. That's like empty Ali. But yeah, I mean, he was a thing in himself. So, yep, shall I give you a summary of what we were reading today? Because it's just funny how, towards the end of live streams, we forget the entire agenda of the stream and then we're just talking about casual, random stuff, reading comments, talking. I drink and I know people. That's what I do. What? Saptarshi, how do you know the peeps at churches? Oh, yep. Repeat after me. Chelsea certainly. It has. See, I told you. Um, Chelsea has a lot of fans who are pretty great at tongue twisters. And no, please continue Roald Dahl letters in the next episode. Also, in the next episode we will move on to something new, and I'm still Nietzsche. Nietzsche. I am confused because I actually read some, not read, heard. It's Nietzsche. I'm confused in like a lot of pronunciations for Nietzsche, 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 and Nietzsche. I'll just stop trying. But yep. Saptarshi, like you can join us in the next letter recommendation as well, guys. You can just email to me on vaanima804@gmail.com, especially Saptarshi, because I've realized a lot of people want to talk to you, and we find old classmates on the live as well. Oh, yep. And if you have any recommendations for the next letter reading session, I would surely appreciate that as well. Are my plans for the 25th episode? But it's still a surprise because I'm not sure if this will happen. It's not going to be anything big. Like, of course, they have brought on Peter Gold. Of course, it won't be as big. But I don't know. I'm thinking to have a guest. I'm not sure if it'll happen. But if you have any recommendations, please suggest. Abhishek Pandey says it's Nishchaya. We are going to call him Nishchaya now. That's fine. Anne Frank. Anne Frank makes a lot of sense. One more. No. Shiv Kumar. This is the thing. This is one of the many reasons why I will not support Chelsea because of how difficult the names are. Chelsea. Okay, no, you're not his classmate. It's like, okay, fine. I'm sorry, Sushmita. I have zero experience in international literature, though. You still want me to join? I think like there are so many books that you're yet to read. Books take a lot of time to read, and therefore, like, it's not possible, I believe, unless you're a literature student, to read n number of books. Vaani, any recommendations for literature in Hindi, or could you? So yes, Malay, we've had a couple of people who've recommended some books in Hindi, if I'm not wrong. Else, I will ensure that somebody who has better knowledge of Hindi literature than I do will soon join us on Chalchitra Talks, Book Recommendations, Kitab Ghar, and help us with Hindi recommendations. Letters to Melon. Yeah, I think we've read them already, but I'll just check. Yep, we're just both Bengalis in just like Bengali literature. Pretty cool, dude. So I'll just reframe my sentence. We are Chalchitra Talks is doing like this another thing now. We are also connecting like-minded people. We're recommending people to each other. Maybe no, I wouldn't say that. Is this a Bengali only? It's not. It's just like somehow we've been sabotaged by extremely well-read Bengali people. Sushmita, I am a computer science engineer, and I'm so embarrassed of it because my knowledge is zero. Okay. Yep. Recommendations for English poetry. Okay, there's this one particular Reddit ka subread, and I will leave after a few more questions. Sorry. But there's this subread on Reddit. It's called Our Poetry. You should check it out. It gives you like, I could be wrong. It is something poetry, and it's Our Poetry, I think. And it recommends to you one poem every day. So if you want to get into English poetry, you can like start from there. There'll be like pretty cool poetries there'll be pretty cool poetry every day, and people obviously discuss in the comments as well, so you'll get good insight as well. Okay. I will send you some Bengali link. Thank you so much, Saptarshi, and I hope you know my email recommendations, email ID. It's vaanimahesh04@gmail.com. Vaani, Vaani. My brother is doing physics also, Saptarshi. Okay. It's Vaani Mahesh04, VAANIMAHESH04 @gmail.com. Okay. Please, someone give Satyajit Roy's translate. Satyajit Ray, you mean? Okay, translated works. Most of his works are translated. Yeah, you can. Okay, if you want somebody to gift you, that's something else. But you'll find his translated works on Amazon as well. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm not really big on subreddit, Reddit, so I don't know how to pronounce the things. I'm really sorry, but yeah, subread. Abhishek Pandey. Okay, thank you so much, Vikas. I'll take this recommendation and maybe. And yeah, I'm like a boomer in this case. Himanshu, I'm really sorry, but yeah. So I think guys, यहीं पे अपना live stream end करते हैं. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. And okay, and I'm so glad Sushmita and Saptarshi are becoming great friends. But yeah. So if you have any questions, I'll just take 5 more minutes. Else, like, let's just end the live stream. And Baki, we read Roald Dahl Ki letters and we tried it. Abhishek, no. It's actually my name, Vaani, and then my second name is my middle name is Mahesh. So yeah, chemistry is everything, right? Yeah, we can. Thank you for the recommendation, Vikas. We can try. I mean, I will try to get him, but let's see what becomes. Do I like comics or manga? I haven't read a lot of manga, so I can't say. And most of the people like comics, right? Um, Abhishek, why so mean? Yeah. But if it is true, but all the best to your girlfriend. Um, yeah. My brother is a fan of mangas. Same here. My brother loves mangas. I did get some people to recommend. Do I read Neil Gaiman? Yes, I actually really like Neil Gaiman. There's this interview of him on YouTube. He has a lot of. I do not remember the name of the interview, so there's no point talking in it. But there are some really interesting interviews of him on YouTube if you like his works. So I think guys हम यहीं पे अपना live stream end करते हैं. And I'll be back with let's just read perhaps Anne Frank's diary in the next letter reading episode. No, Malay, I'm not from Bengal, but yeah, let's read Anne Frank's diary in the next letter live. It'll just be a form of diary. Or if you have some other recommendations or some better recommendations, you can email them to me and we'll pick them up in the letter writing, letter reading recommendations next Monday. And on Thursday, Weber and I will be live with a short story. And so you can join us there as well. And okay. Well, I don't know what's happening in the comments. But yeah, Ticket, thank you so much, guys, for joining in. And yep, we'll meet on Thursday now. And please be sure to tune in then because Web will also be there. And there are so many people who missed him in the comments today. So bye, guys. Good night.